Welcome back to OpenLine. We are here with the Tennessee Respite Coalition. Jennifer Abernathy, the Executive Director. Here is the number to call if this has piqued your interest, whether on the volunteer side or on the caregiver side, 615-269-8687, or log on to tnrespite.org. November is National Caregivers Month, and Respite is a chance to give some care to the caregivers, give them a break for a chance, because it is one of the hardest jobs out there, no matter if you're caring for a child with special needs, a parent, a spouse, a sibling. And I want to talk about the holidays and maybe the particular challenges that presents to caregivers, or maybe even just relatives that are going to soon become caregivers.
Yes.
Let's talk about both ends of this.
Yeah.
How do the holidays affect caregivers generally? What do you see? What do you hear?
Well, with caregivers, it all depends on the situation, of course. But if it's a caregiver that has newly become a caregiver, if there was some kind of injury or sudden illness, you know, there can be a lot of there are a lot of expectations around holidays for everybody. But when you become a caregiver, you know, you may feel like, oh, I want the holidays to be perfect. I want them to be like they always have.
Right.
And that realization that they might not, and it's important not to put pressure on yourself, because you're in that caregiving situation. That's enough pressure to deal with. The holidays don't have to be perfect.
Right. And it's a good reminder to maybe those who are coming into town who haven't maybe seen the person who needs care. I know from personal experience, those people can come into town and say, well, you're not doing this right, or we should be doing, you know, they want to change the whole game plan. It's like, ooh, that's just a whole nother level of stress.
Yes. The family dynamics on the holidays are sometimes difficult. But when there's a caregiving situation and people want to get their 2 cents in, if they're not the full-time caregiver, it can be very stressful on the caregiver. So what I would suggest for people coming into town, if they're visiting a relative that's in a caregiving situation, give them some respite. Just go in and say, you know what, you go out for the afternoon, I'll take care of mom. You know, and just give them that time, because, you know, I mean, especially around the holidays, people want to get out, they want to do social things, and, you know, and take care of themselves. So I think it's, you know, that's a perfect way to go home and take care of a caregiver. And
really find out what is going on, and really entrench yourself in there. Also, for maybe someone, you know, let's say it's a, you're going home to visit your parents, and all of a sudden you see, wow, they're really declining. They're going to need caregiving, and maybe that's going to fall on me. You guys really come into play then, don't you?
And that's a situation where our calls do go up in January from people just, you know, experiencing that situation, that they go home and they realize, oh gosh, you know, mom's not doing as good as I thought she was. So if you're in that situation and you're visiting somebody that's aging, you know, go in and remember to keep your eyes open for different, you know, different cues or different signs that they may be needing help. Mail stacking up, you know, expired food in the refrigerator. Are they, you know, forgetting where the keys are? Do they, you know, those kind of things. Just, you know, looking for those basic signs of dementia starting. But then when you get home, you can start thinking about, okay, what's the next steps? Do I want to move mom in with me? Do I want to move her to a, you know, assisted living? You know, what's going to work for us? And so we get calls, and obviously we refer people out a lot, you know, for different information that doesn't necessarily have to do with respite, but we can give all the information to people about what respite might be available if they're looking like they might be getting into that situation.
They're going to become a caregiver real quick. Give you guys a call. We mentioned that this is National Caregivers Month. We also mentioned that you guys are a nonprofit, a 501c3. You don't take that, you know, you're not a state-funded organization by any means, so that means fundraisers have to come into play. What do you guys have lined up?
Well, we do have, of course, end-of-year giving is huge for every nonprofit. So this year we're doing all of our end-of-year giving on CrowdRise, and we have an event started there. And of course, Tuesday, December 1st is Giving Tuesday.
Oh, that's right,
you know, after the Black Friday and the Cyber Monday.
Let's give a little.
It's Giving Tuesday, you know. So, so I would encourage, if you want to donate to the TRC, great, but if you want to donate to any of the other worthy nonprofits out there, Tuesday's a great day to do that, because it really increases the awareness for the nonprofits in our community. And then we do have, at the end of April, we are having our annual beer and cheese tasting.
Fun.
At Jackalope Brewing Company with Bloomy Rind Cheese. And we just have an evening with some live music and beer and cheese, and
fun.
Yeah, just a really kind of nice, easy, wonderful fundraiser to socialize. And then in September, we are having Jazzin' for Respite. We've had that for a number of years, where we have some live jazz music and the silent and live auctions, and just a lot of fun, we're planning on having that at Nashville City Club.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. And all that money raised goes back to fund your program, whether it be the hotline, the vouchers, the senior companion, right?
Yes, yes. And the wonderful thing is, with the voucher program, our average per hour for an hour of respite is $5 an hour.
Well, how does that happen?
So,
because that's not a lot of money.
Yes, well, and again, it's an average.
Okay.
So there are people, of course, paying, $15 to $20 an hour if somebody needs skilled care. But then there's also parents that use their funding that we give them for camps over the summer. So that's a large number of hours.
True.
So realistically, but if you give the TRC $5, that really equates to an hour of time,
which is amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's a great value.
Yeah, I would say so. Very good point. That's a way to drive it home.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a great value for your money if you're looking to really help an organization out.
Yes.
Tell folks again the website in case they're just tuning in. How can they find you guys?
The website is TN Respite. That's RESPITE.org, and all the information is there. The contact information, as well as a donate button to donate, and you can also contact us through the website if you're looking for services too.
That's easy enough. And you do provide a lot of services. We talked about the vouchers, and that's for actually bringing someone into the house to give you that time away to do whatever you need, or even just to stay there and take a nap if that's what you want to do, or go out and garden, as you said, whatever fills you back up and gives you time away, gives you that moment, right?
Yep.
And then you have the senior companion where someone comes in and can sit with the person needing care and watch after them. Got the hotline. What else am I missing?
Well, we just, since this is National Family Caregiver Month, we have had events across the state to recognize family caregivers. Nice. Actually, this past Friday at East Park Community Center, we had a pampering event for caregivers. They had brunch, and we had nail services and chair massages, and self-care coaching and brain games and everything. Just a drop-in event to say, thank you for all you do, and we're not going to bombard you with a bunch of information. This is you time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How wonderful.
Yeah, and we have volunteers in Johnson City that put on an event for caregivers there, and then also in Jackson, Tennessee, they did a luncheon for caregivers. So, I mean, we try and make sure that November is a special month for family caregivers.
And if you have someone in your family who's providing care for a relative, a friend, a loved one, make sure you tell them thank you. Let this just be a reminder to pick up the phone, send them a text, say, hey, you're doing an awesome job. I know it's difficult. We're behind you. We got you on this. Thank you for what you're doing, because it is tough.
Yes.
It is so very tough. And like you mentioned before, maybe also just give them a few hours. That could be the biggest gift of all.
Yes. Oh, exactly. Time is so valuable for a family caregiver. The other thing I wanted to mention is I know this is a local television show, but for people that may have family members outside of the area, outside of the state even, that need that are caregiving, or somebody in a caregiving situation elsewhere, a website which is Respite, and that's ARCHRESPITE.org, and that is a national site. You can do a national respite locator on that.
Wonderful.
For different programs in different states, and kind of get the lay of the land wherever you know somebody that is caregiving.
I'm so glad you told us that. Thank you very much. We do have a lot of folks who are maybe thinking about their sister or brother or parent and saying, this is something our family needs, and so that is big help. I want to give you the chance to call in tonight. Our lines are open right now, so if you have a question for Jennifer, go ahead and give us a call about how the Tennessee Respite Coalition may be able to help your family out, or if you have been helped by the Tennessee Respite Coalition. We would love to hear your story. That number is 615-737-PLUS, which is a 7587. Go ahead and give us a call. And tell me a little bit about how the Tennessee Respite Coalition started.
Well, that's a great story. There was a group of people who at the state level that were concerned about family caregivers, and this was in mid to late 90s that they started getting together. It was a real grassroots movement, and just gathered people together from across the state, really started trying to think about what Tennessee could do for family caregivers. So then after that kind of got established, the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services had a grant for coalition building, and so they hired a coordinator that worked under the department and kind of fostered and was an incubator for the TRC, and that coordinator went out and did things, and then when that grant ended, the people involved saw the need was still there and wanted to continue, so that's when they applied for nonprofit status in 2003. So we have been around since as a nonprofit since 2003, and a lot of changes has happened. We've had actually our office burned down last year.
But I think a great testimony comes from that, of what you all do.
Yes.
Go ahead and share it.
Well, our offices used to be in the Big Red Barn on Music Row, which burned down last September, and so we spent the last year, basically, our staff was working out of our homes and, making sure that the caregivers got service until we got into a new office. And over the last year that we were officeless, we actually served more caregivers. We had more helpline calls and more respite hours for caregivers while we were in the transition period.
That's amazing. A pat on the back to all of you.
Well, thank you so much. And I have to give the props to my staff. Mandy and Linda are just amazing people. There's just 3 of us in the office.
You guys are busy.
We are busy.
How many, you mentioned you've put out more hours in the last year, more caregivers help. Do you have those numbers off the top of your head?
The number of caregivers, we were at 294 across the state for the voucher program. For the Senior Companions program, I know we were right at just over 12,000 hours of respite in that program, and trying to think of the number of hours in the voucher program, but usually that's well above 50,000 hours. So yeah.
That's invaluable time.
Yes.
Great to hear. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Reminder, if you have a call for Jennifer, if you'd like to find out more about the Tennessee Respite Coalition, give us a call. Now's the time. We're going to only be here for about 19 more minutes, so call now. Don't be wishing you had by the time 8 o'clock gets here. We'll be right back.